I get started, if you remember, I guess it was about what, a month ago, month and a half ago, that we started working with Melody, who's a friend of ours that goes to a different church here in town. She works with Jenny over at Love Inc. And God had put it on her heart, not just to do a mission trip to Jamaica, but many faith steps before that as well, that would make going on a mission trip like this, the first thought would be, I can't afford that. And so we jumped on board with her and did that. Do you guys remember like the dollar for dollar match? Fundraising up to $1,000, and you guys did a special love offering as well that made it possible for her to go without having debt on the back end. And we really appreciate that. So so I asked her if she would come and share a little bit about our trip, and she said no. And then we did more and more, and finally. Are you going to do it? You've tried to back out 7 times now. Okay, so everybody welcome Melody, will you? That's all good for you.
Hey, so I just want to thank you guys first for helping support the trip, because it really was kind of one of those situations of, oh no. And I guess I have to give a shout out to Jenny, because she's the one who told Tom that I was struggling, behind my back, of course. And then that's when he came in and gave me a talking to. So I'm going to use some notes here because I tend to get distracted a little bit. Jenny can attest for that. So last year in July of 2021, I was in Alaska on a mission trip. And last year I was working in healthcare, making like decent money. Paying for the trip was not a problem. And so that part was easy. But while I was there in Alaska, Sarah with One Plus God, which I'm sure some of you know, I know some of you definitely know her, she was like, hey, do you want to go to Jamaica next year? And I said, well, what are you guys doing in Jamaica? And she said, it's VBS. And I said, I can't talk to kids about Jesus. Like, I did not feel prepared to do that at all. And so I had forgotten about that conversation completely. And then in February of this year, 2022, she brought it up again. And I wanted to use that same excuse, but God was like, you can't. Because in November of 2021, I had started helping talk to the kids on Thursday nights about Jesus. So I'm like, well, there goes that, And I'm like, I really don't have a good reason not to go, So then I was like, okay, I'll figure it out financially. And then that's when I started transitioning out of healthcare. I still do it some, but and doing more ministry work. And so, the finances changed a little bit. So I know, like going into it, I'm like, yes, I want to go. And especially now that I've done the whole, I can't talk to kids about Jesus. And then God's like, yes, you can. I'm like, now I feel like I have to go, because now I've got to prove a point, but, in a very humble, Jesus-driven way. So I started like looking at the finances and stuff, and it just wasn't happening. But Sarah's like, don't worry about it. You can pay it off later. And I'm like, okay, not really a big deal. I'm like, I can do that. And then Tom came in and was like, does that make any sense? And I was like, well, I mean, it'll be okay. And he's like, how are you going to pay it off? Like, you're going to have debt for a while paying this off. Like, why not just ask for help? And I'm like, well, I don't want to bug people. And he's like, how do people know that you have a need if you don't tell them? And I'm like, okay, good point. So that's when, you guys had done what you did. And also God was kind of guiding me and talking to certain people who had expressed an interest in helping. But I was kind of like, no, it's okay. And so then I was like, okay, it's really not okay. So if you can help out, I'll appreciate it. And also, I just had to be honest in a Facebook post, which really just said, hey, I don't really have the money for this, so if you could help out, that'd be great. So that's kind of the funding part of it and how it came together. And then our purpose of going to Jamaica, like I said, was VBS, but also just evangelism as a whole. And unfortunately, when we got there, there were some obstacles in the way, but we know that that happens. And it was sad to see how some of it played out, but God's always bigger than all of that. And so even in the rough times in Jamaica, like, you could still see God shining through. So the pictures that are up here are the pretty pictures of Jamaica. And I mean, it was beautiful. And that was all taken from the one property. And then on the next slide, I think, those are like the people pictures. I didn't take that many because we didn't have cell service, so a lot of times I didn't have my phone out, so I literally only have those two, and they were taken by other people. So sorry about that. But the picture on the bottom there is Sarah, Anna Lee, who is a pastor from South Africa that, yeah, your church knows about, and me, and I'm wearing the same shirt so that you would recognize me. But that was outside the school that we did the VBS at. And it was awesome to see God moving there. The top picture up there, this was actually a cool little God moment. Like, there's lots of big God moments that are really exciting, but sometimes those like little ones get me even more. So I was sitting there with the kids, and I was like praying to God. I'm like, God, how do I like make this work for them? Like, how do I make it connect for them? And God reminded me of something that one of our youth group girls does with the younger kids. And so I'm going to do it with you guys. So you guys have to follow along, or else I'm going to look really dumb, okay? But I'm going to set the mic down for a second, okay? So this is when they go to pray with the little kids. Okay. So you go, hands up, hands together, hands down, heads down, and then you pray. So that was really simple, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, God, like, what, like, how can I connect this with these kids? And like, that popped into my head, and I'm like, okay, thank you, like, that's simple. So I did that with one of the groups, and then at the end, this was everyone together, and they made me go up front and do it with all the kids, but it connected with the kids. And so I was like, okay, that's great. Like, that's a great little God moment of, tying it all together. So that was really cool. But like I said, there were some bumps on this trip. And a lot of us were going, okay, how do we explain this to people? How do we talk to them about what we experienced? And so on the way back, our flight from Chicago to Columbus got canceled. And so we were in a bus driving back. It's like 3 a.m. We were supposed to be home at like midnight. And we got a couple hours to go, But I'm like, okay, God, what do I tell people? How do I explain this trip and explain like what you did during this trip? And of course, God provides an answer. He always does. And so the overarching theme of this was the body of Christ coming together for a unified mission. So before the trip, for me and every other person who attended, which I think there were 21 people total, we all had people supporting us financially and through prayer. And those are people of many different denominations. Some people weren't even believers and still donated because they could see where, okay, you're doing something good. And then during the trip, we, as a group, we had several different denominations there. We were from different parts of Ohio, a couple people from Kentucky, and then Anna Lee from South Africa. And so it was just very eclectic, and yet God brought us all together for the same goal. And he laid the same things on our hearts during different days of what to pray for. And so again, the body of Christ coming together for a unified goal. And then while we were there, I know I go to the Mary Naz, and the Mary Naz and Day Spring, they were coming together for Restoration Week, where they do some projects around Marion. So again, body of Christ coming together for a common goal. And then on the way back, We, like I said, our flight got delayed or canceled, Columbus to Chicago. So one of the girls, Christine, she called her pastor, who's over at the gathering place, and she told him what was going on. And then he called my pastor and said, hey, can we borrow a van? So again, you had different churches, different people of those churches coming together for the same goal. So that's kind of what I saw with all of Jamaica. So, yes. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it.
What did I just do? No, I fixed it. Hold on, where are you going? We tend to pray over our guests. You ready? Pray with us. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for Melody and for who are saying yes to you, who are seeking you, knocking on doors, Father, and finding your answers. And I just pray, Father, that the ripple effects of her work, not just in Jamaica, but the face that she's made to go to work with Love Inc. and to be able to do the work she does in the community, just continues to bring glory to your name, Father. And I pray that you be with her and guide her in all things. In your name, amen.